Well, there's a farm pond I want to visit, and it is half a mile from the gravel road. And you can't drive in there. And I fish it in the summer, and I would love to fish it in the winter. I fished it twice in the winter. And I need to get back out there. So we haven't had hardly any snow. Usually it's soybeans or corn there. And I started looking around at carts on the internet last night, and they're ridiculously expensive. And the little ones with the 4 wheels, I was going to get a metal, just a flat top. And those wheels and all the linkage, everything is so close to the ground. I wanted something higher. So I was looking at this. My wife spotted it. And I started looking at it. And if I take and put the handle on, let me chip all the paint off it first. If I put the handle on this way, then that thing will already be angled up. And if I put this on the ground, like that, I put my handle up here in the holes where it's supposed to go. I'm going to have to do something different for an axle. I need a longer axle. This is not long enough. It's not very pretty. But this exactly fits the bearings in the wheels. But I need an axle to fit those bearings. So I got to come up with something on that. And I will not be mounting this metal box. I don't believe. I don't need it. I don't want it. Or the brackets. This hardware I might use. It's got some carriage bolts in it and a couple U-bolts. Nice little rinky-dink plastic chrome hubcap looking things, whatever those are. The whole deal is I'm going to put a piece of plywood or OSB on top of this so that I can put this on top of it. This is a clam guide. It's like 5 feet long and 3 feet wide. And that's why I need a longer axle, because this is not long enough. The distance between the wheels is not far enough. So I'm on the hunt for like a 4-foot piece of solid steel that will fit those bearings. And there's a welding shop downtown. I'm going to see if they can get me one. But yeah, I'm going to chop this puppy up and see how it turns out. Should be interesting. Okay, so I picked up some 3/16 lynch pins. And these are the kind that are not supposed to come off. The ring is offset within the head of the pin. So they're like spring-loaded when they're shut. And it clamps pretty good. So what it looks like is I just got to take these brackets off, put them on the other bar, and I could get away with using this axle because the tire is lower than this bar. I got to cut these off, and I think I want to leave some of this round pipe on the shelf itself so that I can slide that long pipe laying on the floor there. Shove that up in here and give it some more strength, but also make it extend far enough that when I have a hold of that handle, this thing isn't front heavy or back heavy. Because it's going to suck trying to lift it in the air the whole time you're pulling, or pushing down on it the whole time you're pulling it. It came with these U-bolts, and they fit that red axle perfectly. So I think that's what's going to happen. To take these, cut them off, cut the welds, these real nice welds on them, cut those off, braze them onto that thing, the lower bar, get my axle centered and squared. These bolts that came with this, they'll do the job. Look at the hole in that washer. These things are freaking garbage. The lock washers are super thin, garbage. I'm gonna put in some American stuff here. America! And always Loctite. Don't cut these off. You can use them when you put your plywood on here. So I'm going to weld something like this onto this. My axle will be down here. £6.5 pounds of dead weight. I cut that shelf off. Don't need it. Don't want it. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it now. But I got this cut off. I gotta put a pipe inside of here. And I gotta braze it. And then depending on where my level is, where I mount my axle along here, then I can run a pipe from here to here. And I'm still going to put a pipe in here and bring it back a ways. And I think it's going to come back and then come up to keep this lead on the back end of the cart. My midpoint is right here. And the sled is 60 inches long overall. So this pipe is 30. I've got an 18-inch pipe inside of this one and this one. So it's 9 inches this way and 9 inches this way. Now, I think I'm going to take a pipe and go from here straight diagonal to here. And try and cram that thing inside there. And then braze it there and braze it here. And I need a piece to hold these apart, unless I rely on the board to do it, but I really don't want to do that. Well, that's the general idea. I could either bolt that or braze it. Braze that, braze that, braze that. Still got to do a cross piece in between. And then I'm going to braze one in between this bracket and this bracket. So this end should push in on the front end. So I added some braces here. Strength up and down. I added a spreader here. Everything's brazed together. I'm going to put a tail on this thing. Something like that, but I don't know how high to make it. I got to put the sled on here and a piece of wood just to see how high that needs to be. And that'll just kind of keep the sled on. I'm going to utilize these holes here for a strap to go from here clear around to the other side, and that should be the middle of the sled to keep the sled from sliding off side to side. I don't want to add any more wood to it than I have to. Well, there's kind of what it's going to look like. I've got my axle bolts, the U-bolts clear to the back, and it's at a zero balance right now. It's pressing down a little bit, and it takes just nothing to lift it. So I should be pretty decent. I think that'll work. Now I just got to make the sled stay on. Well, this is the bottom, or the bed, I should say. It is not secured to the cart yet, but it's gonna be. I gotta get it centered too, and I gotta get the shack centered on the wheelbase. I put these up here to keep, you know, if you tip this thing down, it's gonna run right into the handlebar. So I put these on top of here instead of in between. And this one, pretty much the same thing, but just to keep it on the back of the sled. This way ice and water can drain out of here. It does have play side to side. I made it big enough so that if I needed it for somebody else's shack, that maybe it will fit on it. I got clearance, about 1 inch of clearance between my wheel and the bottom. This is just 7/16 OSB. This is a 2x2. These are 1x4s. This is just ready rod, 1/4 inch ready rod. I got the head of the bolt peened and spread so that this can't come off of there. And then on the bottom side, I'm gonna have self-locking nuts on them. You know, the problem with trying to eat while you're working, you don't get anything done. Those are the best chips in the world right there. I don't know what it is. I'm addicted to those things. Anyway, back to work. So I've got the bottom secured on with 3/4 inch conduit straps. And I've run a carriage bolt through the actual axle bracket itself so that this top really should never come off unless it flies out of the truck or something stupid like that. I thought I needed a kickstand, but I don't. I'll show you why. This is my second time loading this, and I'm not professional at it yet. But if I leave the handle down, pull this up to the sled, get that on there, come behind it, and pull it on. It'll stay tipped down, and when I lift it up, it'll go to the back, and it's not, about right here is where I'm going to be pulling from. It's not real back heavy, and it's not real front heavy either. So I think I'm pretty good. But yeah, it works better than I thought it would. I'm gonna move some stuff around. And we'll see what this cart weighs. I know it weighs more than the sled does, but can't help it. You know what? That's lighter than I thought it was. Not touching the ground. About a foot or whatever off the ground. That ain't too bad. I can get the glare off that lens. Huh. Well, cool, I guess. Whatever it takes. Now, I can go pretty much anywhere I want. The fields that you can't drive through with your truck to get to the farm pond, I'll throw my shack on here and away I go. I'm gonna get some undercoating. I'm gonna undercoat that the whole bottom of this thing. I was gonna, but I never got to it. But yeah, dang, I like that. Quick pins, just pull that out, pull the pin out, slide your wheel off if you want to haul it somewhere in somebody's truck or something. As long as you remember the pins and the tires, you're good. You're golden. I'm golden. I like this. I can't wait to use it. Maybe next weekend. We'll see.